All lectures from the Fourth Sunday Ansari Forum found here on the Students of Imam W. Deen Mohammed website are intended for the serious students of Imam Muhammad and not for the casual listener. The reasons for this are, number one, some are of poor sound quality, but would not keep the serious student from hearing Imam Muhammad's message. And number two, some language or strategy that was used by Imam Muhammad to bring the former members of the Nation of Islam into the correct perception of al-Islam just may not be readily understood by the casual listener. However, questions can be posted on this website or posted into the online Yahoo group, the Students of Imam W. Deen Mohammed. Thank you. And now Imam W. Deen Mohammed.
Of American Muslim Mission, Assalamu alaikum. As I was coming here, I was thinking on the subject, the topic that we have chosen for today, and thinking on some comments that have been made recently on the problem of black people, as we call ourselves, or Bilalians, as Muslims prefer to be called, in America, that is. I decided that it might be helpful, before going into this topic, to mention this, what I consider to be helpful criticism. It was made by Colonel Gaddafi of Libya in his publication, one of his publications, put out under the title Green Book. I would much rather appreciate explain, for the sake of better self-image on our part, his idea than to go into the racist idea which says that we are inferior because there's something wrong with our nature, that we're genetically inferior. We know that that's a lot of bunk, so it's no need of going into that. The championship fight in South America says something about that theory, and we know how that turned out yesterday. Again, it was a victory for the black man over the white man. Now, we know they win battles just like we do. But when you put the two on equal footing, there's no way to tell how the battle is going to come out. It will not be determined by genes, and you can bet that. Colonel Gaddafi, who is not such a likable person in the world, I believe he has many admirers, but we hear more criticism of him than praise. Colonel Gaddafi of Libya, he pointed out something in the history, the social history of the African people. And he associated, or he based his idea of theory on the effect of climate, geographic climate on the spirit of the African people. He reasoned quite much, very much like I reason myself, and that is that human beings don't really get up and go until they are pressed to do that. Human beings like to take it easy. That's a tendency in us, just to take it easy. And we don't really get up and go, that is, kick the dust up, unless we are pressed to do it. The climate in Africa, for most of the climate, for most part of that climate, is very conducive to relaxation. It's warm. Sometimes it's hot. But when it's hot, you don't want to rip and run. When it's hot, you want to relax. You want to cool off. So Colonel Gaddafi said that this climate has a lot to do with the inaction on the part of black nations, our African nations. I don't think in America we can explain our apathy and inaction in that language or in those terms, because it is not Florida everywhere in the United States. In the United States, we have cold weather and hot weather, changeable weather, extremes of all kinds. And if weather was a factor for influencing our social, political spirit, then we should be as aggressive here in the United States as the white man is. But it seems that we are not. So I hope that the nose will explain why we are not. The nose, N-O-S-E, the nose on your face. I chose topic because I felt it was very, very effective in explaining our situation. The topic, how to get the ring of the carpetbagger politicians out of our noses. If there is no interest in the people, then you can expect nothing from that people. So maybe before going into the nose as a symbol affecting our behavior, maybe we should talk a little bit about our situation, in hopes that all of us have an interest in changing an objectionable situation to an acceptable situation. You know, we have made progress and we have failed. On one side, we have made great progress, and on another side, we have great failures. We may charge these to the racial climate in America, or the remaining racist sentiments in the American Caucasian or white people. I don't like to use the term white. I don't like to use any color appellation for people, simply because this is a tool for prejudicing people against each other. They may appear to you to be as white as snow, but I don't think that is a dignified classification for that race. That race has more dignity than skin pigmentation. And likewise, it is not respecting our dignity to constantly refer to us as black people. It does not only disrespect our dignity to refer to us as black people and not as human beings, or with a term that suggests a human content. When we use the term Bilalian, it suggests a human content, because Bilal was a human being. The expression African, Mexican, even Asian, all of these expressions, all of these terms are connected with a human being or with human history, so they suggest the content of a human being. But when we say color, it suggests no human content. When we say white and black, it suggests no human content. And this language is not ours. It is the Caucasian slave master's language, who devised that kind of language to divide the world against itself so that they could take all the goodies from those fighting each other. Now, these are the simple facts. If you study race in social science, in political science, study race in the human sciences, and you will see that race, according to the scientists of the field of human sciences, race was changed from cultural terms to color terms recently in the history, and that time is the time when they decided to cut up Africa and cut up Asia in the name of white supremacy. These are the facts. These are the facts. And when we buy that term, black, for ourselves, we are just following the pattern that was designed by the racists to destroy us. If my skin is black, I'm not ashamed of my skin. I accept my skin, and I think black skin is as beautiful as any other skin. I've seen black skins, I've seen the blackest of skins, and I've seen the whitest of skins. And I think the beauty is not in the color, but in something else. I've seen the ugliest people under whiteness, and I've seen the ugliest people under blackness. I have no objection. My mother was a black-skinned woman. My father was a light brown-skinned man. And I am a medium-skinned man. And I like the medium. I don't like the extreme. So getting back to our point now. When examining our situation, we see that we incline to give ourselves too much to certain motivational urges and tendencies and not keep our eyes on what is beneficial for us in the long run, not in the short run, in the long run. Because after all, it's beneficial for a hungry man to rob a bank in the short run, but it may mean the loss of his life in the long run. So we are not to make judgments that will affect our whole life on the basis of what is good for us or what is helpful in the short run. We are to do it on the basis of what is helpful and good for us in the long run. People who thought that way have laughed while other people have gone down. Nations that think that way stand while other nations fall. Dear beloved people, I hope God bless us with guidance and understanding. I hope He bless me to be able to express my thoughts clearly to you, and I hope He bless you to receive my thoughts in the proper way. I don't intend any mockery. I don't intend any destructive criticism. So if you might hear that or feel that, please know that I don't intend that. Everything that I do and say is for the sake of improving upon us and not merely criticizing. You know, we've heard the expression puppy love. We're going to talk a little bit about the nose as a symbol. I recall as a teenager being criticized by one of my teenage associates. He said to me, he said, "Wallace, that girl got you by the nose." You know, you've heard the expression, got a ring in his nose. He said, "Wallace, that girl, she's got you by the nose." And when he said that, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't know why I got so upset, because I really was nose directed for that girl. All right? But I got really upset, because to me that expression said more than what he was saying. And you've also heard the expression nose dive. Nose dive. When a bird or a plane take a nose dive, they let everything go. They just let everything go. And I'm sure you're aware also of the association of the bull with a ring in his nose. He leads the bull around, big bad bull, with all of his muscles and power. But he's given to fits of rage, so they have to try to teach him a lesson. And they found that the nose is one of his most tender spots. They put a ring in his nose, and the slightest pull on that ring make that big, powerful bull walk to the music. Well, what I'm trying to lead up to say is that we are pulled by the noses. And it's not good for us because it limited our maneuverability, like the maneuverability or the freedom of a bull or cattle is limited. We have leadership in our popular leadership that is good and very good, excellent. But on the whole, I would have to say that our popular leadership plays psychology on our noses. Dear beloved people, nose as a symbol refers to our appetite-connected intelligence. You know, the nose is an intelligent organ in our sense makeup. The nose, when we are hungry, becomes more sensitive. When we are full, is less sensitive. When it's stopped up, it's less sensitive. And it's stopped up usually by a cold, is that right? A cold. Too much moisture in the nose gland. And the smelling is impaired. We've heard the expression, I smell something. I smell something. And again, we are people who have this nose problem. We are constantly being told that we smell something. And those who tell us that something is smelling hardly ever tell us where to find it and how to deal with it. They just tell us something is smelling. Now, I'm talking about carpetbag politicians. To understand the carpetbag, the term carpetbag, we only have to review the history of the Civil War and that small period, but sad period, wherein we see the northern opportunists coming from the north to a bad situation in the south and taking advantage of that bad situation by playing on the no intelligence of the people at that particular time. Dear beloved people, if we examine the climate, the present social and political climate in America today, we will find that the same kind of influences, the same kinds of sentiments, the same kind of emotional and motivational tendencies have formed again like they were formed in that period called Reconstruction under a Marshall Plan. Under the Marshall Plan, the victims were abused. The victims had to rub their nose in the dirt. Yes, we know. Those who have read the history, they know this. They understand. They were abused. Now, the sentiments in the abolitionists, especially in the slaves, was certainly not of such form that they would be aware of the abuses that were being meted out by the Northerners to the Southerners who had been defeated. This is a kind of touchy situation, a kind of touchy page in history, but the hypocritical Northern so-called abolitionists and civil rights leaders were not all good. Most of them were bad, brothers and sisters. A few of those people were good. Frederick Douglass was a good man. Abraham Lincoln was a good man. Many of the Quakers who helped us were good people. Well, I even believe John Brown, wasn't that the man's name? John Brown, the fanatical crusader who risked his own life and ended up losing his life for our rights. I believe he was a good man. But there were many, many who were not good. There were many, many who were looking for an opportunity to take advantage of a confused situation. There was a lot of confusion during that period, and those opportunists from the North went down there to take advantage of a confused situation. And they were very, very fortunate to find the Belalian people, or the African American people who had just been liberated, dominated by nose intelligence. So they took advantage of the dominance of nose intelligence in those Belalians, in those African Americans at that time of Reconstruction, that sad page of martial rule, when the soldiers was forcing the Caucasian leadership of the South to yield and bend to their divisive scheme, to view and breathe in the Caucasians hatred for their slaves, hatred for their liberated slaves that would last for many, many years and centuries, so that there would never be a chance for the free slave to ever form a healthy, a friendly alliance, a friendly cooperation with Caucasians of the South. The Northerners planned to keep the South divided. They planned to keep the South divided. Not divided as a part of the United States. No, they wanted it united with the United States. That's how come the war was fought, to unite the South with the rest of the United States. But they wanted it divided against itself on racial lines. So they came in during the period of Reconstruction, and they forced their will, set up their own governors from the North, their own petty governors from the North, over the Caucasian who had a right to rule in his own land, in his own native land. He had a right to be the ruler there. And I'm sure they could have found some sensible Caucasian who could have exercised that responsibility there, but they didn't seek to find a Caucasian who could exercise that responsibility there. Their intention was to force blacks on Caucasians to deepen Caucasian hatred for blacks, so that the South would never be united color-wise, but would always be divided color-wise, so that the North, the manufacturers, the commercial empire would dominate the whole land. This is the evil of this country that we must understand and get our noses out of the grip of the carpetbagger politicians. Today, what is the problem? It's the same thing. Today, it's the same thing. If the situation was normal here in the North, you would find Christian and Muslims embracing each other. Because my voice of al-Islam is not the voice of religious dominance. My voice is not the voice of religious persecution. My voice is not the voice of religious superiority. My voice is the voice of religious unity. My voice is the voice of respect for Jews and Christians and Muslims. And if the climate was natural in this country, you would find more black preachers, African-American preachers, Belalian Christian preachers embracing me. I embrace them. I embrace them. If the word was spoken, if the truth was given, you would hear praises coming from my lips. for Dr. King, who has passed, but also for the living. You will hear praises coming from my lips for Reverend Fontroy, who is also a congressman, for Reverend Laurie, and for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and for many others. I don't stand up here and preach division to you. I preach unity to you. I don't ignore their contributions. I respect their contributions. I'm not afraid to say that we should work together. I speak out in the open and say that we should work together. But it seems that our popular leadership are afraid to get too close to us, and they don't want you to get too close to us. They have become prima donnas of the worst kind. Maybe they don't like to be seen standing side by side with a foot soldier. Maybe they think that I'm not of their caliber. Maybe they think that I don't have the credentials. If that's their attitude, then I don't want to get with them. Dear beloved people, the situation that we have requires a unity between nose sense and brain sense. The two should come together, and we shouldn't always try to exploit disunity to raise ourselves in the eyes of people. We should wake up one day and realize that that very tricky, low-life strategy is going to eventually bring us down. But we have that tendency. We don't think we can rise without pulling those taller than us down. That's a shameful way to rise, brothers and sisters. Our popular leadership to pinpoint the problem or to hit it right on the nose, as they say. Is the fact that they are mentally and emotionally geared up like a drum major, striking the drum to the beat of social programs and ignoring the steps of social reform. Dear brothers and sisters, how long do you think the federal government can continue to increase revenue for social programs at the beat of the drum of these carpetbagger politicians who know how to strike to the beat of social programs but don't know how to step to the demands of social reform? Don't you know there's a natural law of social progress? There's a natural law of social progress, and that law says that morality and social progress form as a accompaniment. As companions, they go together and can't be separated. Now, to understand this, take a quick look at the general world picture. To see how social programs are faring in the general world picture. A look in that direction will help us see what's happening here. Dear beloved people, when we observe the function, the impact of social programs in the international scene, something comes out very plainly. Something revealed itself very clearly. There are countries in Africa that are trying to work the social program. Among those countries, few are succeeding.